Hello! Thanks for joining me for another episode of Killer Bites. Today, I'm talking about 14-year-old Claire Miller, a 9th grader with an exciting, growing online following, leaving behind clues to her murderous crimes across her TikTok account. While she's still a minor, the acts were so violent, the Pennsylvania court system is determined to try her as an adult. Want to learn more about this case? Stick around. Without further ado, let's jump into today's story. Our story starts in an affluent neighborhood in Mannheim, Pennsylvania. The Miller family, consisting of Father Mark, Mother Marie, oldest daughter Helen, and their youngest daughter Claire, lived in a large home in Lancaster County. Claire was 14 years old, and her sister Helen was 5 years older, making her 19. Helen received a cerebral palsy diagnosis, keeping her bound to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She needed others to take care of her, as her health condition made it extremely difficult for her to do things on her own. Not much information is given on the kind of person Helen was, but she did take up interest in art and even won an award for some of her pieces. She was creative and talented. Luckily, Mark and Marie made plenty of money and were able to afford Helen's expensive treatments, medicine, and doctor's visits. Their 2,500 square foot home was set up to accommodate any of Helen's needs. Mobility was difficult for her, and the house was purchased under the Helen M. Miller Trust Fund in 2005, which helps with providing disabled people with access to accommodations, including when they reach an age where their family can no longer take care of them. Claire often helped with her and attended doctor's visits with her sister frequently. The two were said to have a fairly close relationship. Claire's parents enrolled her in a private school, Lancaster County Day School, where she spent most of her time. It was a school with a small population, only having around 500 students. Tuition costs made it difficult for more students to attend. While at home, however, she started spending her free time making videos for TikTok and other social media platforms. Claire used her profile to post lip-syncing videos, anime videos, and videos of her father, often seen being a funny, goofy guy. These videos did fairly well, and eventually, Claire had gained a small following of around 20,000 accounts, getting at the very least a few hundred views per video. It was clear that she lived in a loving household with parents who cared about both of their children. Claire had a small group of friends at school and confided in them with some pretty heavy feelings. She admitted to them that she felt suicidal ideations, clearly dealing with depression symptoms. However, she also expressed homicidal feelings, often explaining how she wanted to inflict harm upon others. Whether she was joking or venting or whatever else, the thoughts and feelings were definitely there. Sadly, Claire would finally act upon these thoughts in February of 2021, not too long ago. In the early hours of February 22nd, around 1 in the morning, terror would strike the Miller household. The family had gone to bed a few hours before and were peacefully sleeping, all except for Claire. She had snatched a knife from the kitchen and taken it into her sleeping sister's room. Claire crept up to the side of Helen's bed, took the knife, and stabbed it into her neck multiple times. Helen, unable to defend herself, couldn't reach her hands to the knife or turn away. After this, Claire grabbed a pillow from her bed and covered Helen's face. Once she stopped breathing, Claire took the bed sheets and covered her sister's bloody body. At 1:08, Claire took out her phone and dialed 911. While the call hasn't been released to the public, dispatchers from Mannheim Township listened to a frantic Claire, voice shaking and saying, "I stabbed my sister," over and over again. Around 1:13 a.m., 5 minutes later, the police had made their way to the Miller household. They saw Claire standing outside in the cold snow, waving them down. Her pajamas were drenched in sticky blood. As they approached the house, the officers looked at the ground where they saw the snow covered in red. Claire had tried to wash her bloody hands with the snow before the cops arrived to block 1500. At the time, Mark and Marie were in the bedroom sleeping. They didn't hear the commotion of Claire's attack and were still sleeping peacefully. They were abruptly awoken to the sound of police officers storming their home and entering their eldest daughter's bedroom. They had no idea that she had been attacked. and no clue that it was their youngest daughter who was to blame. The officers entered Helen's room and saw the blankets and pillows covering her face. When they pulled them down, they saw a knife protruding from her neck near her chest. She had lost a lot of blood, and it was clear that she would probably not make it. While waiting for emergency services, officers did their best to stop the bleeding and to resuscitate Helen, but it was no use. Her wounds were too severe, and she had lost far too much blood from the multiple cuts. By 4 in the morning, Helen was pronounced dead. The Mannheim police arrested Claire, and she was charged with criminal homicide. They threw her in the police vehicle and drove her to the station. While in custody, awaiting further instructions, the officers brought her McDonald's breakfast. Claire is quoted saying something along the lines of, "Ooh, McDonald's. I would have killed someone sooner if I was gonna get McDonald's." There's a time and a place, and this isn't appropriate for either situation. You've just killed your own sister, and you're making jokes about McDonald's? Read the room. While Claire was only 14 years old, the state of Pennsylvania was determined to try her as an adult, as murder isn't seen as a delinquent crime. Despite this, she was still allowed to stay in the juvenile detention center until her trial and reaching adult status. One of her cellmates recalled hearing Claire say that she Michael Myers'd her own sister. Hilarious. Obviously, this story is horrifying, and the media picked up on it right away. The news of Claire's arrest and alleged crimes were plastered all over the TV and social media. One of the places this hit the highest was TikTok. A video posted to Claire's account showed an image of a bloody glove laying in the snow and a stuffed giraffe stained red. While TikTok was uncertain if Claire truly posted this video herself, it's reasonable to suspect that she did, as her sister could be seen in previous posted videos. There's even more reason to believe that the account belonged to her when you remember that she tried to wash her hands in the snow after killing her sister. The images match up with the actions. For some reason, Claire's case struck a chord with young people on the app. In a time where TV shows, movies, podcasts, etc. glamorize or romanticize serial killers, this was a brand new case for people to sink their teeth into. In no time at all, the news of Claire's actions had gained her over 11,000 new followers to her TikTok account and millions of views to her final video. People were curious to hear more details about the gruesome case and wanted to follow along, even if they were supporting a killer in the process. According to TikTok's rules, the video was promoting violence and her account was quickly removed. But this didn't stop the videos from circulating. They had already been downloaded, saved, and posted to other accounts on the app. Regardless of their effort, the fascination with Claire and her brutal acts toward her sister was far greater than having empathy for Helen and her parents, who had now lost both of their daughters. In April of 2021, the first trial for the case began. Claire was being held in a prison located in Muncie, and she appeared through video conference. The prosecution had a pretty solid argument against her, but her defense team stepped up. Claire's defense team reminded the court that she suffered from mental health issues and wasn't fully there when completing her violent acts. Her arraignment was scheduled for the following month, but her attorney asked to move the case to juvenile court, which is known to be more lenient with sentencing and tries to move down the rehabilitation route, even if it is a murder case. He also filed for potential insanity defense. The big thing in this case is she's so young. She's a 9th grader, but even at 14, you're aware of the permanence of death. If you were in your right mind, you were aware of what you were doing. You were aware that your sister had no way to protect herself. But all of it was so confusing. Why would Claire do this to Helen? What was the reason? To make matters even more puzzling, Mark and Marie were shocked that Claire had any motive to kill her sister at all. They were friends. Claire took care of her sister. There wasn't any blatant, glaring animosity between the two. However, an argument was brought up for the motive. Helen was older, she was disabled, and received a lot of attention, more than her sister. The prosecution tried to play a jealousy angle, and while that could be true, it just didn't seem like enough of a reason. Marie spoke out about the situation and said, "We love both of them. I know Claire did not mean to do this. We lost Helen, and we don't want to lose Claire too." I can only imagine how shocking and heartbreaking this would be for a parent. I don't blame her for for not wanting to believe the circumstances. It's too painful. Mental evaluations were done on Claire, and 2 psychiatrists came back with similar results for the court. She was suffering from extreme psychosis, depression, and anxiety. Claire even claimed to have heard voices on the night of her sister's death, leading her to slit her own throat. Despite both sides having valid points, the sentencing possibilities remained harsh. Either Claire would be locked away for the rest of her life or receive the death penalty. Obviously, Claire should be held accountable for committing these horrific acts, but imagine being in prison for the rest of your life for a crime you committed at 14 years old. Does it justify it? Absolutely not. But the court seemed determined to make a stance. Claire is being charged with first-degree murder, and there are levels to the kind of murder charges you can receive. Third degree is the lowest level, meaning there wasn't any planning beforehand for the murder. The act occurred in the spur of the moment, without the intent to actually end a life. Second degree means the acts were committed intentionally, however, there wasn't any planning time beforehand. Again, spur of the moment, but a little more intense. And now, first degree, the most serious of the bunch. Getting charged with first-degree murder means the violent acts were committed intentionally and with planning beforehand. Were Claire's actions planned? No one really knows. Regardless, that's where she sits now. At the moment, a final trial still awaits. This case is still being researched, and at the moment, we don't have an official sentencing for Claire just yet. However, with the intensity of the crime and the severity of Pennsylvania's sentencing, it doesn't look like Claire will be out of prison either ever or for a very, very long time. For her parents, I hope that they find peace. I cannot imagine losing your firstborn child in such a gruesome way and at the hands of your youngest daughter. I hope that they can get some answers from all of this. I'm sure they're just as confused as the rest of us are. As for TikTok, you can still find compilations of Claire's videos. However, I don't suggest you watch them. They only make the case sound more like a story instead of real people dealing with a permanent, horrific situation. I understand that people get curious, but please try to see these situations for what they are: unfair and heart-wrenching. Hopefully we hear more about a trial soon. In the meantime, keep your eyes and ears peeled for updates from either this channel or your trusted news outlets. What are your thoughts on this one? Do you think Claire deserves to be tried as an adult? Do you think she should receive a sentence of life in prison? Do you think the death penalty is the correct route? It seems to me that Mark and Marie are hurting enough. It's clear that they don't want to lose Claire. I can't imagine how taking their second daughter's life would make them feel any more closure. But at the end of the day, it's up to the justice system. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm eager to know what you all think about this one. Feel free to check out the rest of our channel for more videos like this one. Until next time, I'm your host Brandi, and thanks for being here. Stay safe out there.